Hi, I'm Pam and I'm here to talk about retro video games. Today I'm talking about one of the best FMV adventure games. It combines paranormal investigation, Bavarian history, and unbearable sexual tension. It's The Beast Within, a Gabriel Knight mystery. The Beast Within is an FMV adventure game developed by Sierra Online and released for PC in 1995. Designed by Jane Jensen, the game continues the adventures of Gabriel Knight, a writer who is descended from a line of Schattenjägers, supernatural monster hunters. After resolving a series of voodoo murders in the first game, Gabriel is now living in his ancestral home in Germany, and is approached to help solve another series of crimes, these ones thought to be done by a werewolf. An interesting thing about this series is that every game looks and plays completely differently. While Sins of the Fathers was a pixelated point-and-click adventure, fitting in with Sierra's more popular Quest series of games, The Beast Within uses real actors and live action scenes combined with computer-generated imagery. The final game, Blood of the Sacred, Blood of the Damned, would hop onto the 3D graphics craze, making it the most difficult to go back to today. As the game opens up, Gabriel has traveled to Munich to investigate the murders. You get a series of locations you can travel to track down leads, like the zoo from which some wolves have recently escaped and the police station. A local hunting lodge will also play a big part in things, and its leader, Baron von Glauer, will be the source of most of the smoldering looks and sexual tension with Gabriel. We will definitely be getting back to that. As in the first game, Gabriel's assistant Grace plays a part by doing research and helping out. Here she gets a much larger role though, as she's the playable character for half the chapters. The game alternates between Gabriel and Grace. Gabriel's chapters focus more on direct investigation of the murders and incorporating himself into the hunting lodge. Grace focuses on researching the past, cases which may be related to what's going on now and point to a bigger mystery. Each chapter starts and ends with a live-action cutscene which must be paid attention to, as they can often give hints on what you should be doing next. While you're playing, you'll see the avatar of Gabriel or Grace moving against a number of environments from real locations. The interface is quite simple, with hotspots lighting up as you move your cursor over the screen. What happens when you click is contextual. Maybe you look at something, pick it up, or interact in another way. You also have an inventory which will be used for puzzle solving, and you can examine or use each item. Gabriel has a tape recorder to record each conversation so you can go back to what someone said. This is also used in one of the more clever puzzles in the game, splicing together different conversations, but otherwise feels a little underutilized. A lot of your time in the game will be spent interrogating other characters to get information. This game is very ambitious in the story it tells. It's not only a murder mystery, but also a look at themes like temptation and power. It combines historical drama with paranormal events and fictional characters, and it does it all quite well. The Gabriel chapters are my favorite parts of the game. Gabriel as a character is charming, stubborn, and selfish, but also a bit toned down from the first game. I like his interactions with most of the characters, especially when he's getting one over on someone. But what stands out the most is his relationship with Baron von Glauer. These two just have incredible chemistry together, and The Beast Within ends up being one of the most homoerotic games I've ever played.
You are a man who runs deeper, I suspect. On my off days.
Of course, this was 1995. Nothing really comes of their obvious flirtation, but it sure is fun to watch. As Gabriel integrates himself into the hunting lodge, the two get closer and have many a stimulating conversation. Just look at how von Glauer looks at Gabriel. Why do they never kiss? Regardless of this, I just found everything to do with the lodge quite fascinating and entertaining. Despite the fact that there should have been kissing, I really enjoyed the relationship with Gabriel and von Glauer. It was nice to see Gabriel make a new friend who seemed to have some understanding of his power and responsibilities. Of course, things get more complicated than that. It did not at all surprise me to find out that series creator Jane Jensen is now writing gay romance fiction under the pseudonym Eli Easton. This game really gives away that particular interest of hers. Gabriel and Grace don't actually interact until very late in the game. For some reason, Gabriel doesn't want Grace's help and refuses to tell her where he is. They communicate only through letters they write to each other at the end of each chapter. I do miss the interplay between the two characters, which was so amusing in the first game, even though Grace's character here is quite different. She's honestly a little cruel and hard to watch for her first chapter, as she's clearly in love with Gabriel and reacts poorly over an assumption that he's romantically involved with his new helper, Gerda. Thankfully, this doesn't go on for too long, and the two women eventually come to an understanding and work together. Grace's investigation of old werewolf cases and eventually the lives of King Ludwig II and Richard Wagner are quite interesting. She visits many real-life locations, such as Castle Neuschwanstein, where she and the player learn a ton of history about the fairy tale king. Maybe even a little too much history. The section of the game in museums and castles are a lot of exposition with not a whole lot of action and can drag a bit. Still, I appreciate the effort and research that went into writing the game. Of course, none of this writing would land without actors bringing it to life with good performances. Acting in FMV games can often be over the top, which makes it hard to take things seriously. I'm happy to say that the performances here are good. There are some silly moments for sure, but Dean Erickson as Gabriel portrays his character well. He's certainly believable as an American, a bit out of his element both in Germany and in the company he finds himself in. He plays dumb when he needs to, has a number of funny lines and facial expressions, and also a good dramatic turn.
Sweet Jesus. In the woods.
Show me.
Joanne Takahashi plays Grace. She's in turns intense and eager, questioning those she thinks can help her with gusto, and always trying to get a leg up on Gabriel to prove herself. She's much less of a wise ass in this game and plays everything much more earnestly.
So nice of you to stop by, but I'm afraid the Schottenjäger isn't here right now. I'll let him know you called, though.
And of course, I have to shout out Peter J. Lucas as the Baron, who is really the standout here. I honestly enjoyed the game most when he was on screen. He's got a certain intensity and could bring out the best and worst in Gabriel.
I find nothing more stimulating than a new companion. A fresh mind with treasures to reap.
The scenes are all really well put together, though I do think every dialogue segment could stand to have a second cut off at the start and end. There's just a little too much silence or repetitive movements before the characters ask or answer a question. Aside from this, I thought the scenes were well planned and shot. Transitions between rooms or characters taking actions rarely seem to drag out too long as they can in other games, with a few exceptions. The real location backgrounds also make things look pretty seamless. The Beast Within was scored by Robert Holmes, and it is a beautiful soundtrack. It tends toward the dramatic, which is fitting of its themes, but sometimes, like when walking about town, it can even be jaunty. Music was even created for a new fictional opera called The Curse of Engelhart. The visuals, music, and performances of the actors all blend together to make something special. Though the resolution is low, the game still looks impressive. I do have a few complaints about the game, which are common complaints about most adventure games of this time. That complaint? Mazes. Adventure game makers just love their stupid mazes. The Beast Within has two of them. One is in a forest, and not too bad since you have a chance to explore it a bit beforehand. But it will soon get much more serious, and you'll need to navigate it or face mortal danger. The finale of the game features another, larger map puzzle, which can also have fatal results, and it does kind of leave a sour taste in my mouth at the end. Though Gabriel can die in these two places, you can't really get stuck in the game. Just be sure to save often. You can also get a bit of a hint sometimes. While on the overworld map, the hint button will light up locations where you still have work to do. The hints don't go further than that, but it at least prevents you from wasting time searching a location where there's nothing else to be found at the moment. The Beast Within, a Gabriel Knight mystery, succeeds as both an FMV and an adventure game. I really love the story and the characters that are presented here. The way it combines historical figures with fictional mysteries is fascinating. Getting to play as both Gabriel and Grace, who each have their own very unique styles of investigation, keeps things interesting, and I just can't get enough of those hunting lodge scenes. If you haven't played this one before, I definitely recommend it. If you want to see more, I have a stream highlight video from playing this game. It's mostly me yelling at the characters to kiss. I have a Patreon if you want to support my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Lily. She is not a werewolf. No. No, not a werewolf. Alright, lay down, please. Lay down, please.